Birdley, hello. And we keep missing each other everywhere. Um, that's my fault, not yours. I have been totally erratic um, in my attendance. I have been sleeping a lot, and that was necessary. And because I am guessing that today we both need a little bit of cheering up. I am going to read something from one of my favourite funny books, which is a book called All the World's a Globe, From Lemur to Cosmonaut, by one of my favourite British comedians, Patrick Barlow, Barlow, and he just does these wonderful parodies of slightly pompous analyses of history and culture. He does a lot of work on radio. He's very verbal, so I hope this little excerpt from his History of the World will be suitable for speaking. As usual, I'm trying to do 6 things at once, and slightly palpitating, and not quite hyperventilating, but I just want to read something and relax a little bit. So I will do this now. Chapter 40. The American War of Independence. America, of course, was still being run by the British government at this time. So a number of people decided to start the famous American War of Independence. Now, I think it's very important to make it absolutely clear at this juncture that this had nothing to do with anything the British was doing wrong, obviously. In other words, there wasn't a load of British nobles keeping the Americans as serfs or in bondage or anything of that dubious ilk. I am sure that American historians would be the first to admit that the British government ruled America very, very well indeed. But that the Americans just thought, well, we have been here 200 years now. We have our own accents, our own recipes, even our own hobbies. Surely we can govern our own countries. So they sent a letter off to George III and said, could we run America now? Now, I am quite certain that under normal circumstances, George III would have been only too delighted to accede to this request. But, unfortunately, he had, at this time, a rather intimate ailment which affects first the personal areas, if you get my meaning, and then the brain, so that he was now talking to trees and sleeping with his horse. So he said, no, absolutely out of the question, and he sent the entire British army, the famed Redcoats, to the United States under Lord Butcher Cumberland, the well-known, unpopular general. They had numerous battles, particularly the Boston Tea Party, the Gettysburg Address, and the Battle of the Bulge. But the Confederates, or Yankee Doodles as they was known, being more conversant with the terrain, and not having the red coats, obviously, won. For this reason, America became independent and had the Declaration of Independence under George Washington, which meant that they were now American and not British, but would obviously always respect and admire Britain a great deal, and always remember to give thanks to Britain for her many, many years of wise and beneficial government, and would therefore have a special day each year to mark their gratitude, which would be called Thanksgiving Day. In other words, a special day to thank Britain for all its help in getting America off the ground, so to speak, which is in fact their equivalent of our Christmas Day, when everybody has turkey and presents and crackers and so forth. For this reason, and it's hardly surprising when you think about it, the Americans decided to run the country on very British lines, which they do to this day, except they don't have a monarch, but a president, who lives more like a monarch than a monarch, if you ask me, judging by the size of the White House, and by the astronomical number of rooms in it, which, after all, only have to accommodate Mr. and Mrs. Clinton, Norman Schwarzkopf, and a few aides. Unlike our own Prime Minister, who lives very humbly indeed in number 10 Downing Street, with a massive staff in only 2 bedrooms. And Professor Barlow's homework is things to do. Make a scale model of the Battle of the Bulge. And I hope that you found that edifying. A little discursus. I'm giggling, and I hope you are too. And look, let's catch up for goodness sake. Really, I want to talk to you.